those bums won their court case, so they're marching today.
What bums?
The Nazi party.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.
I hate Illinois Nazis. There's John Belushi. He hated Illinois Nazis, but the Democrat Party, they've got we had a big election day in many states yesterday, and that's big news. And President Trump and America, the big winner, the Republican Party, the big winner. But I gotta tell you, there's one Democrat running for the House of Representatives that you need to hear about. She represents the party today because she wants to build concentration camps for Jews and for Zionists. That's what she says, Zionists, for Zionists. If you believe that Israel has the right to exist, then you're going to the camps. Very little daylight between the commies and the fascists. The Socialist Workers' Party of Germany was Adolf Hitler, and then the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was the USSR. And, of course, as Vladimir Lenin said, the goal of socialism is communism, and communism is slavery. And here in the United States, the party of slavery, the Democrat Party, they're fighting for socialism. I think I've seen this movie. I know where this goes. And the Democrats are running a woman in Texas named Maureen Galindo. Maureen Galindo. Texas Democrat Maureen Galindo faces backlash for pledging to imprison American Zionists at ICE facility. She wants to, it's an immigration customs enforcement facility where they're incarcerating illegal aliens who came into the country illegally, across our border illegally, with the encouragement and the enticement of the Democrat Party. The Democrats support everything illegal all across the board. But the Fox News people reporting a Democrat House candidate from Texas is fielding criticism. That's interesting. You field criticism. She's receiving criticism even from some in her own party, but not many, after she pledged to send American Zionists to a facility currently being used to detain undocumented immigrants. That's illegal aliens and human traffickers and child sex traffickers and drug traffickers, and gang members and illegal. And the Democrats they support the human traffickers, the child sex traffickers, the drug traffickers. They support the gangs from Venezuela. Who knew that Tren de Aragua was the dominant game in Venezuela before the Democrat Party opened our borders? And, of course, MS-13. You got Senator Chris Van Hollen down in El Salvador, having margaritas with Kilmore Abrego Garcia, the wife-beating human trafficker. And the Democrats are in bed with him, and they're members of the United States Senate. Was once described as the world's greatest deliberative body. Now it's the number one source of monkeypox in the mid-Atlantic region. In an Instagram post last week, Maureen Galindo, the Democrat running for the House of Representatives, said she would turn, quoting her now, the Carnes ICE Detention Center into a prison for American Zionists and former ICE officers for human trafficking. What were the American Zionists human trafficking also, or just the ICE officers who are enforcing the laws as passed by Congress? She wants to become a member of Congress. Wait, it gets better, though. She said, it will also be a castration processing center for pedophiles, which will probably be most of the Zionists, she said. All right? This woman is a fascist. She is a Nazi. She is a genocidal Jew hater. She really, I think at home, she's probably at home in a Gestapo uniform, being spanked with a riding crop by her friends. This one is pretty amazing. Galindo, who is a sex therapist, probably good at that, I'm guessing, and a housing activist, meaning free stuff for other people with your money, is running for a seat in the newly redrawn 35th Congressional District facing Johnny Garcia in a primary race. They're both Democrats. I wonder if he wants to kill all the Jews, because first you have the ghettos. You should call it the ghettos. We're going to put them in ghettos, just like the Nazis did with Jews before they set up the death camps. Got that good stuff. Galindo's runoff campaign, it's a runoff campaign, has also drawn attention amid reports that a mystery super PAC, and this is the New York Times, saying, oh, Republicans are backing her. And they say Republicans are backing her through a group called Lead Left PAC. Does that sound like a Republican group to you? But the New York Times says that the Lead Left PAC, amazing, promoted Galindo in mailers. Yeah, Lead Left PAC promoted. I'm thinking that's a left PAC, but Political Action Committee. But and the mailers highlighting her support for dismantling ICE, wants to completely dismantle ICE, and then after there's no more ICE, then the former ICE people will be thrown in a concentration camp. Well, they'll be castrated, and they'll be put on trial for human trafficking when they're fighting to stop human trafficking. This woman is mentally ill and a perfectly mainstream Democrat. She's a fascist. Does she have any theme music for her campaign, Michael? I think that this lady, they're putting out CDs of her theme music for her campaign for Congress, and she is quite remarkable. Her remarks, which have been called anti-Semitic by critics, really only by critics? Only critics recognize what those words mean? Just amazing. Have drawn rebuke from fellow Democrats and the New York Times, which urged voters not to allow her to win the May 26th runoff against Garcia, who is in favor of illegal aliens and anti-law enforcement, because the Democrat Party is mentally ill. And they say Garcia is considered a moderate. Well, everybody's a moderate compared to Frau Hitler here. Is she called Frau Hitler? I think she's called Frau Hitler. When she's being spanked with riding crops in her Gestapo uniform with the short little black skirt. In other social media posts, Democrat Galindo has accused Garcia, a former hostage negotiator and public information officer for the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, of wanting, listen to this, Jews and Mexicans in warehouses. That's what she said, her opponent there. This is her language of the Jews. And she also accused billionaire Zionists of controlling San Antonio and South Texas trafficking networks. So the Jews are the human traffickers. She's a perfectly mainstream Democrat. We have two, and she's running for the House of Representatives. We have two sound bites of the Democrat Galindo, and I want to, because once she posted all of this stuff, some people raised an eyebrow. It's true, there have been a couple of eyebrows raised, and that's quite appropriate, I would think, more than raising eyebrows. This woman, maybe there should be an FBI pre-dawn raid with guns drawn, and she should be dragged away face down in handcuffs. Pretty amazing stuff. Yes, sir. But they got Talafrico. They got James Talafrico. He is a Texas Democrat Senate candidate, and he tweeted about his fellow Democrat. He tweeted, "This anti-Semitic rhetoric." You think that's rhetoric? That's pretty hard rhetoric. Has no place in our politics. It's all over your party. Your party is drowning in the blood of anti-Semitism. We need leadership in both parties willing to stand up and call out hate wherever it rears its ugly head. Yeah, Republicans have been doing that for quite some time, you fascist, you little Talafrico. Just amazing stuff. These people. And now let me go to sound bites, because you got to put the billionaire Zionists, the Jews, in prison, in internment camps, because they're human traffickers. The Jews are. That's what she's saying. All right, so here is the first soundbite of the Democrat Party running for a candidate for the House of Representatives in Texas, of all places. And here she's not even Talafrico, but she is the Democrat. She's running. I expect that she'll win because it's the Democrat Party and they're out of their mind, their collective mind, of course, and everything's collective with them. So when one loses their mind, they all lose their mind. Pretty amazing stuff. So here she is, Maureen Galindo, Democrat running for the House.
When I say that I want billionaire Zionists in prison, that does not mean I want Jews in internment camps. So why am I getting a whole bunch of death threats and MAGA insults? Which actually makes sense, I realize. Like, MAGA and Jewish Zionists apparently are the exact same people. They talk the exact same way, and that's because MAGA is the developing Christian Zionism. That's how they want to create a religion state in the United States of America, is through MAGA. which that's the goal of Zionism, is to create these white supremacist religion states.
Exactly. She's cracked the code. Now she's got to be contained because she's so smart. Maureen Galindo, Democrat running for president, the billionaire Zionists, the Jews, and it's not just the Jews, it's any Zionist, and internment camps, and the castration centers. She did not address the turning them into castration centers for Jews and other American Zionists, and, of course, for former ICE officers, only former ICE officers, because she's abolishing ICE. This woman is Hitler, and then it will also be a castration processing center for pedophiles, which will probably be most of the Zionists. Right? So the castration centers for the Zionists and the MAGA people are trying to create, what is it, a Christian Zionist state? Is that what she said? I'm having a little trouble with this because, amazing stuff. And there's a second soundbite from her. But this is her beating back. I can't believe people are being critical of me. I can't believe I'm being criticized. And it's the MAGA people who are trying to create a Christian Zionist state, apparently in the United States. And here is the Democrat running for the House.
So, I don't care what religion you are. If you are a Zionist, meaning that you believe that you are just entitled to land, or someone's just entitled to land based off of religious beliefs, and that you'll kill all of the Semites for it, then yeah, I think that you're a danger to humanity and belong in prison, especially if you have the political and economic resources to make that happen. And that's how we will get all of the billionaire Zionists in prison.
All the billionaire Jews in prison. And you don't even have to be a Jew, but if you're a billionaire, they just call everybody, if you believe that Israel has a right to exist and just entitled to land. I believe it's the terrorists, jihadi, Muslim kidnappers, rapists, murderers, tunnel system for hostages. I believe they're the ones that believe they're entitled to land. I think, I don't know, maybe she should watch, what was the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston. She could see that the Jews were enslaved in Egypt and thousands, and they built the pyramids. The Democrats love slavery. They are their party is slavery. And, and then the sea parted and Moses led the Jews to the promised land. And this is the mainstream of the Democrat Party. Make no mistake about it. Just amazing times that we are living in. There she is. Concentration camps for the Zionists and the billionaires, and the castration centers that will be built into the concentration camps, and the ICE agents who are going to be prosecuted and jailed, she says, for human trafficking, when they're the very people fighting against human trafficking. Democrat Party fighting in favor of all of the people that are engaged in human trafficking, the illegal alien gangs and so on. And they think you're just entitled to land. I got there. Really, there is a great conflict that already exists on the planet Earth and the United States of America, but there is a war coming. Right? There is a war coming. Just amazing stuff. Let me tell you that right now. The Democrats, the Democrat Party. What is the matter with them? Boy, oh boy. And there's more, because the Democrat Party is a dangerous, violent, bloodthirsty, and blood-drenched gang of miscreants who are in favor of the opposite of civilization. Mother's Day was just the other day. It's one of the most beautiful moments of the year to share life-changing information with the family. You might have seen it yourself. Family gathered around the dinner table when someone stands up, maybe a couple stands up, and says, next year there will be a brand new mother at the table with our family, and everybody cheers and toasts, and it's a wonderful moment. There's nothing like it. But for some women, Mother's Day may feel very different. Instead of celebrating, they might be carrying a quiet little secret they don't talk about so much, afraid, unsure, all alone perhaps. But that's why preborn exists. When a woman sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears that tiny little heartbeat of her innocent boy or girl, it could double the chance that she chooses life And that's a good thing. This month, the month where Mother's Day can be found, you can help to be the reason that a scared young woman becomes a confident mother and raises a beautiful child. Just $28 provides one ultrasound. That's less than $1 a day for the month, and it could help save an innocent human life. That moment leads to real support, too, to maternity care, baby clothes, parties for the mom and for the baby, and a whole lot more. And it all starts with that ultrasound. To get involved, all you have to do is dial pound 250 on your phone, and when prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, the keyword is baby. Or you can go to Al Gore's amazing internet to preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/PLANTE. Amazing stuff. Yeah, those rascally Democrats. Concentration camps for the Zionists. And you don't have to be a Jew, just any supporter of Israel. Concentration camps, castration centers. And she says it with, I don't know if it's a straight face. It might be an LGBTQ face for all I know. I'm guessing at least B. I'm thinking at least B. Because Democrats, they're confused most of the time. We're at 888-630-9625. What is wrong with the Democrat Party? Oh, mine. All right, there's so much to report. Former Democrat Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank has died. He died. So he's not going to the LGBTQ festival in Alexandria next weekend. Barney Frank, the first openly gay member of the House of Representatives in the history of the country. From Massachusetts, a sort of gravelly-mouthed congressman who was considered to be very smart and capable and competent and got the Democrat Party's agenda going and all that stuff. But Barney Frank has died. And I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about, I think he had been moved to hospice care. And it doesn't come as a huge surprise. When I was with CNN long ago, I know I interviewed him more than once, I think, up on Capitol Hill. I spent a lot of time on Capitol Hill interviewing members of Congress for sound bites, for various stories. Also, I haven't even mentioned, so there goes Barney Frank. And so long, Barney. The Wednesday, we've got Wednesday because it's Wednesday. It's hump day in the Clinton household, as you know. And that means it's mailbag day here on the Chris Plant Show. And I'd like to get to the mailbag questions, or perhaps I should call them queries. I could call them queries. After the, look at the time. I got to figure out when I'm going to get to them, but I have them in front of me. I am examining and studying the questions, and I like the questions. I'm looking forward to them. So we've got that going. And there's still some politics and President Trump speaking at the Naval Academy graduation today. Lots still to talk about.
If you are a Zionist, then yeah, I think that you're a danger to humanity and belong in prison. That's how we will get all of the billionaire Zionists in prison.
That's right. The Democrat Party knows that all the Zionists, the Zionist billionaires, that's how you just get all the Zionists in prison. That way you'll get the billionaires because they'll just be in the crowd. This woman is, I think she's mentally ill, but you could argue that maybe a lot of the Nazi leadership was mentally ill too. Look at the things they did. But that was a Democrat woman running for the House of Representatives, Maureen Galindo, and they will turn the concentration camps into castration centers, she proudly said, for the Jews and their sympathizers, the Zionists, the American Zionists. And she will also put, after abolishing ICE, all ICE officers in prison. That's the concentration camp also in Texas. She's already identified the concentration camp. It's a little Bergen-Belsen on the border. I'm quoting her now. It will also be a castration processing center for pedophiles, which will probably be most of the Zionists. They love this. I was talking about this the other day, and I talked about it last week also. The Democrats love to call everybody Nazis and fascists, and then set up concentration camps for the Jews, and they wore out these terms: Nazi, fascist, all this stuff, and then they threw in pedophile, because lifelong Democrat and Democrat Party fundraiser Jeffrey Epstein, who always worked with, played with, raised money with Democrats. They claim that the Epstein documents, that Donald Trump's name is mentioned. Of course, the Democrats could have released those pages for 4 years of the Biden administration. They had all of the Epstein files, and they searched for Trump's name, and they said, oh, his name's in there. But they never, it's like a New York Times article in the Epstein files. Trump threw Epstein out of a couple of events. That's about it. Called the police on Epstein and on Ghislaine Maxwell. But never mind that. The Democrat Party is a threat to the civilization of humanity, quite honestly. The Democrats have another one. They've got a lot of them, actually. They're running somebody for the Senate, Graham Plattner. Do you know this person? Graham Plattner. And this is the guy with the Nazi tattoo on his chest that is running for the United States Senate as a Democrat. And when it was discovered he had the Nazi tattoo on his chest, he went and had some more tattoo work done on the Nazi tattoo on his chest to kind of camouflage it. And the Democrats are okay with that. I said, well, a Nazi, Nazi, newborn Nazi. The Democrat Party is not democratic, and they're not really an American party. All right, let's go to, because we've got Graham Plattner. And we were just talking about the Democrat running in Texas for the House of Representatives with the concentration camps for the Zionists and Zionist sympathizers, Jews and Jew sympathizers, and for billionaires, which rolls class warfare and race warfare into one bundled package. And this is the mainstream of the Democrat Party. Make no mistake about it. And Galindo and the castration centers, because their inner Nazi is coming up. And Graham Plattner, with his Nazi tattoo. It's the skull and crossbones Nazi, the Totenkopf tattoo. Nazi Germany SS units tattooed on his chest. He had been a Marine for a short period of time. I hope that he was kicked out of the Marine Corps. But and he said, oh, I didn't know it was a Nazi symbol. Oh, really, when you had the Nazi SS skull and crossbones tattoo put on your chest. No big thing. But here is Graham Plattner. He, too, is a Democrat.
You have talked about wanting to completely break the system as it works now.
We need a political revolution in this country. Without question, that is the only way we're going to effectively resist the Trump administration, but also the only way we're going to effectively build power to, I think, rebuild the American political system to be more representative of the average American.
They lost a race. So you have to destroy the American political system, the greatest, most stable political system in the history of humankind, because the fascists lost a political race to Donald Trump, who had been a lifelong Democrat before he came down the escalator. And now the Democrats want concentration camps and castration centers and to abolish ICE and to open the borders and flow in the Tren de Aragua and MS-13. And, of course, thousands of Chinese military-age men came in across our southern border. Never mind that. So, yeah, we've got to destroy the system in order to save it, right? Honestly. It's the old Vietnam line, we had to destroy the village in order to save it, which may or may not have actually ever been uttered by a military officer. But never mind that. I think that line was put in print by a man I used to work with, Peter Arnett. I think that's right. And he was a fun drinking partner, though. And never mind that, Peter Arnett. But here is Graham Plattner with the now disguised Totenkopf skull and crossbone Nazi tattoo on his chest.
I do 100% believe that a political revolution is entirely necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bernie does too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, just amazing stuff. Now, Michael, he's talking to the New York Times there, right? And the New York Times reporter is agreeing. Yep. You hear the New York Times fascist, little Hitler that he is, agreeing. Yeah, revolution. We need a revolution. How many will die in the revolution, Mr. Nazi Tattoo? Because You guys are a menace to civilization. And this, I like to say they use the words, but they don't know what they mean. I say that because it's so true, so frequently, so regularly, so often. These are bad, dangerous people. Now, speaking of Hitler, there's the bring in the phrenologist to feel the bumps on Hakeem Jeffries' head. Hakeem Jeffries, by the way, was raised mostly by his uncle, a college professor named Leonard Jeffries, who is a famous anti-Semite. And he's a professor. Professor Leonard Jeffries, a notorious anti-Semite, raised, in effect, Hakeem Jeffries, probably has no parents. You know how Democrats very often have no parents. And this, I got to tell you that the thread that is emerging here should be plain for all to see. But I'm not a Nazi. My father killed Nazis personally, took a little time out of his youth. But Professor Leonard Jeffries, being the primary mentor to the Democrat Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem is not like a normal American name. His parents, I think, didn't like Western civilization. But the Democrats have them everywhere. They really do. Graham Plattner with the Nazi tattoos on his chest, and Professor Leonard Jeffries, famous anti-Semite, raising the now top Democrat in the House of Representatives. And listen to this carjacking fascist Hakeem Jeffries. The Democrats are driving the country to war, and they're unabashed about it. And you heard the New York Times reporter agreeing with Graham Plattner. Yeah, revolution. Yeah, violence. Yeah, kill them all. Put the Jews, the Zion, people who like the Jews in concentration camps and castrate them. This is the Democrat Party today. And then a revolution. Graham Plattner with the Nazi SS on his chest. Never mind that. Then Hakeem Jeffries, raised by Professor Leonard Jeffries, the famous and notorious anti-Semite.
Either MAGA extremists are going to break the country, or we're going to break them. And our goal is to break them. We will defeat them.
And they clap.
We have to beat them electorally, and then we have to break their spirit.
Yeah, we have to, right, electorally, then we have to break their spirit. Now, what kind of a savage carjacking criminal says something like that? You have to break their and then break their spirit. I got to tell you, these people are not normal people. They're not Americans by any definition of the word American. And you have to break. He's talking about the Republican Party, and this is because they lost a presidential election. President Trump won one against Hillary Clinton, and then Joe Biden got more votes than any candidate in the history of the United States of America. Isn't that amazing?
And our goal is to break them.
To break them. Break their spirits. Break them. Hakeem Jeffries shredded over disgustingly violent call for Dems to break the spirit of MAGA. It's much more than that. That's the headline at Fox News. Republicans online call the remarks violent and declaration of war against tens of millions of Americans. People online called it that because that's what it is, if you know the meaning of those words. While speaking at a progressive conference on Tuesday, naturally, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat from New York, called for Democrats to not only defeat MAGA extremism, and what is that extremism? Securing our border and stopping radical Islam from acquiring an arsenal of nuclear weapons with ICBMs, which the Democrats helped pay for, thanks to Barack Hussein Obama, who also apparently, you remember Barack Hussein Obama's is pastor in Chicago at the Trinity United Church of Christ. He famously was asked, and he performed the marriage between Barack Obama and Big Mike, and baptized Sasha and Malia, not traditional American names. And then he was asked after Barack Obama was elected, well, are you going to meet with Barack Obama, your old pal, now that he's president? And what did the Reverend Jeremiah Wright say?
Have you spoken with him since he's been in the White House?
You ain't gonna let him talk to me.
You know them Jews ain't going to let him talk to me. That's the man that he chose as his pastor for for years and years in Chicago. Isn't that amazing? And you may remember the mayor of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Jacob Fry. And he, with all the riots and the looting and the attacking the police, and they love criminals, they love crime. Renee Good is their hero, crashing her car into a federal law enforcement officer after disobeying orders to get out of the car while she was in the middle of the road with her car, obstructing and trying to undo a federal law enforcement effort to round up illegal alien child rapists, and the Democrats out there defending them. Then their pal Alex Preddy, who brought his gun and an extra magazine to go fight the police. These are the heroes of the Democrat Party, and they're all to defend illegal alien criminals, gang members, drug traffickers, human traffickers, child rapists, gang members from Venezuela and El Salvador. Jacob Fry, listen to this, is pretty amazing stuff. How about number 5? Because Donald Trump and federal law enforcement. What's up with Donald Trump and federal law enforcement, Jacob Fry?
ICE is not just the federal police force that he's developed. It is his. And there's a historical analog here, which is the SS. They largely don't need approvals from the congressional body. It is very much Donald Trump's force.
It's very much Donald Trump's force. This is the Democrat mayor of Minneapolis, Minnesota, which used to be the land of Mary Tyler Moore, and now it's kind of more an Ava Braun outfit. These people are very severely mentally disturbed, and they are starting a war in the United States of America with their rhetoric, with their violence, with training mobs of violent leftists attacking people everywhere across America and streets, and that it could be at Chipotle in the Navy Yard neighborhood of Washington, D.C. It could be in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mary Tyler Moore is not throwing her beret in the air anymore. The Democrats are goose-stepping through, and we've got Hakeem Jeffries. We have to beat them. We will defeat them. And then we have to break their spirit, because the extremism that's being unleashed, this is the most extreme thing that's been unleashed in America. Unleashed on the American people, Hakeem Jeffries says. That's completely and totally unacceptable. I've got to tell you, these are warlike, belligerent, hostile, violent criminals who are here to undo the Electoral College. In California, they rigged a system, the jungle primary, where only Democrats will be on the ballot come Election Day. Sieg Heil meine Schatzi. You people are a menace to civilization.
We have to beat them electorally, and then we have to break their spirit because of the extremism that's being unleashed on the American people. That's completely and totally unacceptable.
Send the Jews to the concentration camps and the MAGA lovers of the Jews and castrate them. This is the message from the Democrat Party today. All right, Michael, let's go to the telephones. I still haven't gotten the mailbag. I have to get the mailbag coming up. Let's go to Phil, calling from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Phil, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Mr. Plant, what makes me incredibly angry about these Democrats calling for concentration camps and a totalitarian power is they don't understand is that the history of such powers as the Communist Party in the Soviet Union in China and the Nazis in Germany and the Khmer Rouge when they took over Cambodia was they took all those college-educated elites and they lined them up at a ditch and they eliminated them first. So what they're doing is they're saying, come get me and eliminate me to make the world safer. You know, it's crazy. Communism eats everybody who's been college-educated first. So they're just asking to get murdered. It's just crazy.
Well, you're absolutely right about honestly, from the Soviet Union to the Khmer Rouge, which the Soviet Union and the Chinese Communists contributed to creating. And I got to tell you, the Democrat Party, we had from Hanoi Jane Fonda, coming from the Henry Fonda family, a millionaire Beverly Hills Hollywood family, sitting on anti-aircraft guns in North Vietnam with the communists. The Democrat Party has been backing the communists. They backed them in Nicaragua and Daniel Ortega. They backed the Sandinistas. They opposed the Contras, who were there to contradict, to to be the opposite of the communists in Nicaragua, the Sandinistas. They've been on the wrong side. They're on the side of Cuba, and they're still on the side of Cuba. The Democrat Party is undemocratic, and I gotta tell you, they're no different today. Now they've saddled up with Hamas. They're still in with Cuba. They're doing the bidding of Xi Jinping and Vlad the Impaler Putin, and of the Ayatollahs in Iran. The axis of evil now includes the Democratic Party. Let me just say that, Phil. The axis of evil, from Xi Jinping to Vladimir Putin to the Ayatollahs to Kim in North Korea, the axis of evil. And they've always supported the wrong guys. Castro, the communists in Nicaragua, the Sandinistas, they're not on our side. And the axis of evil now includes the American Democratic Party. All right, mailbag after the top of the hour from your wonderful questions sent in. But right now let's get to a couple more Democrats, because the Democrat mayor of the state of Maryland, Wes Moore, not Les Moore, but Wes Moore, and he really doesn't like America either. Now, he comes from the party of the bullwhip and slavery and the plantation and Jim Crow. That is to say, he's a Democrat. Here is, and they want to run him for president because he's got high melanin levels. Here's Democrat governor of Maryland, Wes Moore.
Is this a racist country, do you think? I think that racism is part of an inherent fabric of this country. I think we have to be honest about that. There is a healing that can still take place from that. But again, to deny our history is foolish.
Nobody's denying our history, you fascist. Your party is the party of the history of racism is the history of the Democratic Party in the United States of America, from the Confederate States and slavery to the bullwhip to Jim Crow. And you, by the way, you abort 40% of black babies. They don't even make it past the womb before you guys tear them to pieces, because you don't like people. You don't like people very much. Yeah, but it's a terrible racist country. The reason Democrats always say this is because all their friends are racists. Everywhere they go, they don't hang out with anybody but other leftists. And everywhere they go, their friends are so racist that they conclude that the country is racist.